TGC Requiem here. This is match 4 of Elves League. I ended up having to record the last two matches here after the fact, so these are playbacks. But I'm doing this in a way that makes it so that you can't see the outcome before. So, this is game 1 of our fourth match. We just lost a bit of a nail biter to Obzon. This seems like a decent keep. So Blooming Marsh into Llanowar Elves. Stomping Ground. Assuming we're going to get a Lightning Bolt here, yes. So probably thinking we're playing Jund, or probably just Jund at this point. Which makes me feel almost a little hesitant here to even play a creature. I might actually just pass. I mean, it's very possible to play the Heritage Druid, but let me just play Gutleaf without revealing an elf. Okay. Another bolt. Yowzas. Alright, so now we're just gonna probably run out this Lifecrafter's Bestiary. So, especially against Jund, this is like kind of the perfect card in the matchup, though they do have several answers to destroy it, including Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse. But it's going to give us some card advantage here during the rest of the game. For the record, I don't really like Lifecrafter's Bestiary in the main, having played with it. It's possible that it's like a decent one-of in the side for grindier matchups, but I'm not even certain about that. It is definitely a good grindy card, again. Just not sure. It kind of takes away from the explosive game plan. So that actually seems like a great card. We'll probably keep that on top. And then probably just going to play Shaman and draw a card using the Bestiary trigger. Also to know, our opponent played a Farseek, so we no longer think he's on Jund. He's now a Titanshift player. Which means we're probably in a little bit of trouble if he's already at 4 lands. So search for tomorrow. 5, 6 lands. Summoner's Pact. Yeah, so this is probably just game right here. Couple Valakut. I mean, we basically just have to have the nuts here, or we're in we're in huge trouble. So if we play Nettle Sentinel, flip Collected Company, yeah, there's still just nothing we can do. I mean, if he attacks and puts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he has 5 mountains already, so if he puts 2 mountains down, he's going to be able to do 6 damage plus he's going to do 12 damage plus the 6 from the prime time, so 6 damage because he'll have 2 Valakut triggers for each mountain. And then if he attacks, and that doesn't even consider if he has a mountain in hand, so that's 18 damage. So I think at this point we're just trying to play to probably try and drain him. I almost feel like we wanna. Oh man, we kind of want a Nettle Sentinel here, but we really need to Collected Company as well. So I think we'll probably play the Nettle Sentinel, maybe without Well, actually, let's think about that. If the hope is for him to just attack and put all the damage at us, it might be best to play Nettle Sentinel, draw a card, and see what we get from there. Because really we're kind of almost counting on the Collected Company the next turn to be able to win, because there's almost no way we win this turn. So we just decided not to draw a card there. Probably to play Collected Company, though honestly... Well, and that makes sense actually. So we're then hoping to get as many cards on the battlefield this turn to get a lethal attack paired with a Shaman trigger. So that's decent. Especially considering the opponent does have their Summoner's Pact they have to pay for, so they're probably not going to put any more threats beyond... Again, the question is whether or not they, have the mountain. If they have a mountain to go with their other mountains that they're going to get with the primetime attack, then so assuming he's going to just get 2 mountains here. Oh, better yet. So because he played Prismatic Omen, now lands he controls are every type, in addition to the other types. So now the Valakuts themselves are actually mountains. So by getting 2 more Valakuts, he's increased it from getting 4 triggers to now getting 8 triggers for the 2 lands that have entered, because these lands are considered mountains. So that's actually just going to be lethal. That's 24 damage right there. So we probably end up just conceding here. Oh, Collected Company just in case. And once we see that there's nothing of use, we concede, and that is a game loss. Alright, so sorry, I was on mute there. So we're going to start by looking at the sideboard. If we look at the deck, what we have on the side, we brought in 3 Lost Legacy and 3 Leyline of Vitality. So Leyline of Vitality just trying to buy us enough time to deal with their their damage output. If we can make it so they're not a turn 4 or 5 deck, but a turn 6 or 7 deck maybe, with the life gain we get from our elves, then maybe that'll buy us the time we need to win. Lost Legacy just to essentially attack their combo pieces. We pulled an Elvish Visionary. We pulled a Court of Calling. We pulled an Azuri. We pulled 2 Lead the Stampede, and we pulled a Lifecrafter's Bestiary. So, plan is to gain life and attack their combo pieces. So we're on the play here. Honestly, this is a risky hand. So I think that I might actually keep this. It is super risky to like an Anger of the Gods, or even a Lightning Bolt for that matter. They're definitely going to be running Anger post board. But, okay, so I did actually be smarter. If they don't have the turn 1 Bolt, though, and you draw a land, that's pretty decent. But that's the problem with those. So I'm glad that I made the correct choice here and not keeping that. We're definitely going to have to keep this. I just can't imagine that we think we're going to get a better 5. I think I keep that on top. Let's double check. Card on the bottom. Right. So part of the reason I put that on the bottom, we don't have any way of getting to the 4th land. There's no point in getting another Collect Company. We need to start developing our board before then. So, all right. Yep. And for reference, there was a game, I think, earlier in the league where I kept a Collected Company on top without having the mana to cast the first one. And I think that was just remembering that basically just basically remembering that last time where that had happened, that was just pretty painful. So this time we put it on the bottom. We're needing velocity against this deck as fast as possible. So so we played a Nettle Sentinel. Opponent plays a fetch land, but doesn't do anything. So that's good for us. So now we draw a Mystic. They typically run Anger. I don't think they run Pyroclasm, so we're pretty good to just attack with a Sentinel and then jam a Mystic and a second Nettle Sentinel. And this will turn us on for a turn 3 Collected Company. Opponent does go for an upright shock, and then bolts our dork. But now we do have 4 power on turn. We can actually play an Elvish Archdruid here and attack for 6, which is pretty great. That said, I do not do that, and the reason I do not do that, and I recall this, is I'm thinking running the Elvish Archdruid out into an Anger of the Gods is pretty brutal. We're already putting him at 11. We're a land away from being able to collect a company at his next turn. And so this guarantees us 4 damage. We could have gotten 6, which puts him to 9, but if we run out the Elvish Archdruid and we get hit with an Anger of the Gods, we're kind of dead in the water at that point. So the hope here is that he tries to hold off his anger to get a little more value. And so by not playing the Elvish Archdruid, we're trying to... you know what? That was stupid. No, it wasn't stupid. So I actually do it to untap my Nettle Sentinels. and that makes sense post-combat to be able to untap my Nettle Sentinels. But I don't think, watching this back, that that's appropriate. I feel like it would have been more appropriate to do that on my turn. I mean, this does set me up to definitely be able to collect a company next turn, but this runs a huge risk of the opponent having an Anger of the Gods. I think this is actually the wrong play, because if we Elvish Archdruid on our turn, It untaps the Nettle Sentinels, and they'll still be able to attack for 6 next turn. The big difference is if we have 2 tapped Nettle Sentinels, our opponent's probably much more likely to, instead of using an Anger of the Gods to kill 2 Nettle Sentinels, is actually going to be more likely to just progress his own game plan. So I don't like this play. I think we're going to get away with it. Yeah, opponent goes secure a Tribe Elder. Okay, so regardless of making the wrong play the previous turn, at this point with the situation we're in, we're definitely going to attack with both Nettle Sentinels. After combat, we're going to play the other Nettle Sentinel, and that'll untap our Nettle. Actually, do we even do that? Assuming he blocks, so we're going to get 3 damage in. That puts him to 8. It may actually be worth holding back the Nettle Sentinel, because what we're going to do is Collected Company on our opponent's end step, and if that's the case, we don't need to cast the Nettle Sentinel, and it just runs us even further into the risk of a Anger. So I think the appropriate play, looking back, I don't actually recall how this went down. I think the attack with double Nettle Sentinel, yep. And I don't think we actually play the other Nettle Sentinel. I think it's smarter to not play the other Nettle Sentinel here. I very well may, but yeah. So I don't think it's like a terrible play. I think looking back, it's better to not do this. But we are still kind of just counting on Elvish Archdruid, and if we hit a Shaman of the Pack or whatever, we're still in good shape. The other thing that we're looking at here is, yeah, I don't know. I'm torn going back through this and watching this. So we're definitely holding Collected Company because, yeah, I just don't think we should have played the Nettle Sentinel there. I'm gonna say that's wrong. Sorry to be making all these mistakes. Again, this was the first time I'd really played Elves in a while competitively. So, alright, so now what we're doing here, since he did Obstinate Baloth, we know that he's not going to Anger of the Gods or be able to Pyroclasm us or whatever. So before he gains the 7 life, we're going to Collected Company in the hopes that we can kill him with a Shaman of the Pack, like a double Shaman of the Pack or Shaman of the Pack plus a Dwynen's Elite. And boom, there we go. So Dwynen's Elite and Shaman of the Pack. So the Dwynen's Elite's going to get us 5-6 elves, Shaman gets us the 7th, and then that's the game. I wish I could say that that's the reason why I played the Nettle Sentinel, to have exactly that much, but that is not what my plan was. Or I can't guarantee that I was hoping to hit a Dwynen's Elite plus a Shaman to finish him that turn. So regardless, we get the win here, despite some suboptimal play. So that puts us to 1-1 in the game, or in the match. We're going to get this screen prettified. Sorry, and the reason that this is coming up this way is if I keep it maximized, the screen runs off and you might miss some of what's going on. The other thing is that when I have done recordings after the fact, you always can see the match outcome beforehand, And so what I'm doing is I'm keeping that off screen on a different monitor, and that way there's no confusion about, or basically you're left in suspense with how the match ended. And also I apologize that the deck list looks kind of messed up today for whatever reason. The deck list generator is having some issues populating. But anyway, so game 3, let's take a peek at the sideboard, see if any changes happen. It looks like we pulled out one lost legacy since we're going to be on the draw. So I brought back in an extra Azuri. So basically I brought an Azuri in, pulled a lost legacy. Because we're on the draw, I'm more worried that we are going to have to deal with like an Anger of the Gods or race our opponent. And so instead of trying to proactively attack their combo pieces, I'm hoping to protect my deck, my creatures more, give myself a more explosive draw by keeping the Azuri in. Otherwise, the rest of the sideboarding is the same. Lead the Stampedes, One Chord of Calling, Bestiary, and Visionary came out. So it's possible Reclamation Sage could potentially come in because of the like Prismatic Omen, I think is what we saw earlier. But since we're pulling both of our chords that we have in our deck list right now, we don't have a way of reliably getting to it, and so it just doesn't seem like it's the best way to approach the game. So I actually like this. The Vitality plus the Vision or the Archdruid gives us the potential to, with another Lord, outsize an Anger of the Gods. At the very least, it's going to buy us extra time. Plus, we have a Visionary to draw cards. This is a good keep, despite the fact that it's somewhat unexplosive. No turn 1 play from our opponent. That's good. Blooming into Sentinel. Opponent's going to play an Explorer. Oh, but he whiffs on the extra land. So our opponent is down to or is on 2 lands. Did not draw an extra land, so we know he is likely to miss his next land drop. Obviously, he's going to get another draw step, but that makes things interesting. So it's very possible. Knowing he might miss, is it worth going for the Llanowar Elves? Either way, we're going to probably attack first, yeah. So the reason I'm thinking we might want to go Llanowar Elves here is this actually allows us to crack for a shock sideways on our opponent's turn. And if he misses on an Anger because he doesn't get a 3rd land, we can Coco in response, or sorry, not Coco in response to his Anger, but tap for the mana for Coco on his turn. And then after the Anger, play the Coco. We'll see what happens though. Might just still be smarter to just play a Visionary. Yeah, I guess, especially considering we have 3 lands already, we could just draw another one. If he has a Lightning Bolt, that other plan is kind of ruined anyway. Alright, so the opponent looks like he's missing another land drop. Plays out the Colony Heart. Alright, so we're definitely going to go land, and I'm assuming we're just going to play probably 1 Mystic, or Llanowar Elf rather, post-combat. Maybe we'll run out 2. I could see running out 2. We just don't want to overextend here. Yeah, so we just run out the 1. This puts us in position to be a collected company. Looks like our opponent misses a land drop again. Nope. Alright, so he does hit a Valakut here. But that land does not allow him to cast an Anger that turn. So I think again we're just going to attack for 2, and we're going to hold up mana for collected company. So we're in a good strong position here where we're going to put our opponent down to 9. Our opponent, even if he has an Anger, we're going to be able to cast a collected company on his turn after that resolves, and then we'll have an Elvish Archdruid to add power to the board on top of that, which just puts us in a really strong position. So here is the Anger of the Gods. So we float the mana, let him kill it, everything, and then we're going to cast the collected company. So we have a couple choices here. Obviously, Azuri offers us the ability to protect our threats from more removal, though we can't protect our Azuri. So if we were to put like Azuri and a Dwynen's Elite down, that's going to give us 6 power on board with an Elvish Archdruid, 3 creatures. That's actually going to be lethal. Similarly, we'll actually have the same thing with Dwynen. If we do double Dwynen's Elite, that's 6 power on board. Elvish Archdruid will actually turn them into 10. So either way, we're probably looking at a Dwynen's Elite and an Azuri, or double Dwynen's Elite. It doesn't really matter because our opponent is dead. He's out of mana, and we've basically got him. So probably just go double Dwynen Elite here. Yeah, that also gets us extra life gain triggers. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power on board. Once we play our Elvish Archdruid, that puts 10 power on board. And that's a lethal attack. Alright, so definitely got a little bit of our help from our opponent missing that 1 land drop. The Anger of the Gods would have set us back a little bit, and it's very possible that he could have gotten us with the Anger, but again, we also were in a strong position with our life total and still having the Coco and Archdruid on in hand, so hard to say, but either way, we cleanly got the win. And so in this match, we went 2-1. That puts us at 2-2 and 6-5 in the league. And so we'll be back with the last match very soon.